If you're looking for ways to speed up your development time when you build new websites, having a starter site pre-configured with all of your settings, plugins, and theme ready to go is the biggest time saver that I recommend you invest in. As part of my starter site, I have 30 pre-configured global styles and GenerateBlocks already set up and ready to go. These are the global styles I use on basically every single website I build. So I've built them into my starter site so that I don't have to do that every single time I'm building another one. So today I'm going to dive in and show you the 30 global styles that I use on every site that are baked into my starter site. Alright, so in my starter site, when you go to GenerateBlocks Global Styles, you can then view all of your global style classes at once. And as you can see here, I've got a total of 30 published global styles in my starter site. So let's go ahead and start at the top. So the first about 10 or dozen or so are all styles that I use to essentially style different headlines. And on my starter site, I have a style guide page. This is where it reflects essentially the style guide for the website I'm working on that lays out the typography, colors, and some of my other global styles. So first off in my global styles is a HL1, HL2, HL3, 4, 5. And basically what those styles do for me is if I want a heading that needs to appear as an H1, but semantically for SEO, I don't want that headline to be an H1. All I have to do is select that HL1's global style class, and it will style it exactly like an H1 heading for me. So as you can see here, this one is an H1 heading. And if we look at the header layout of my page, you say this is an H1 heading, is in fact tagged as the H1 for SEO. And this one that says this is styled like an H1 does not appear because this is actually paragraph text. It's just styled like an H1. So having the pre-configured global styles for H1, H2, all the way through H5 helps me have more control over my design without screwing up the SEO structure and hierarchy that I actually need for my site. All right, so next up beyond that is some additional heading styles that I create that I use in various spots when needed. So there's a small body style, there's an extra small, large, large heading, subheading as well. So if we come back to our style guide page, we can see we've got a small body copy style. Sometimes this is just sub print, maybe something you want a little bit smaller. And we've got extra small body copy style. This is usually something I only reserve for things like the copyright line or some very fine print in the footer. And then we've got a large body copy style that is bigger than your normal body copy, but not too much, just for a standout or call out section. And then we have a large heading style. So this is even bigger than my H1. If I want something that's really going to be big and stand out, I don't use this one a whole lot because it really depends on the design at hand, but it's still handy to have this global style in place for when I need it. And lastly is the subheading style. So this subheading is one that I use sort of as what they call eyebrow text or sort of text above your headline. I always do it all caps with a little bit of letter spacing. So that's how my global style is set up. All right, next up on my global styles list is buttons. So I've got 4 primary button styles that I use on every single website. That is a primary button, secondary button, a white button, and then a text underline button. And once again, if we come into my style guide, I have a section laid out for the buttons so that you can see once you set up the colors and your fonts on your site, this will reflect what those buttons will look like. So I've got a primary button, a secondary button, the white button, it has a white background, obviously you can't see it on a white page, and then a text underline button as well. So all I have to do is insert that button block from GenerateBlocks, choose the global style, clear out the local styles, and it's automatically going to appear and style exactly as my global style is set up. All right, next up is the different styles for containers. So in my outer containers, when I'm inserting new sections of a page and wanting to control layouts for the top, bottom, left, and right paddings, I have these preset global styles for that, so that depending the size of section that I'm working with and a need, I can choose a different setting that will have different padding styles installed in it. So again, if we come back to our style guide page, we have the visual here for us to view. Now, these black outline borders are just for my own sake so I can see the edges, but are not actually visible when I use the global style. So a small container here, and if we come to, let's see, my style guide page, and we open up our small container and choose our global style. So as you can see, I have clamp settings for the top, left, right, and bottom for each of these containers, because clamp allows the spacing to change responsively instead of at specific breakpoints. So I've got a small container, a medium container, a large container, as well as an extra large container. And again, these all have preset paddings built in. The left and right paddings on all of them are the same. However, it's really just the top and bottom padding of the section that changes. Now, I do have a few additional container styles set up. So in the case where I need to use, I have an overlapping content, I might need to use negative margins in order to push content over each other in different containers. And so what happens is then I'm going to need heavier padding on the top of a section or on the bottom of a section, so that I can allow room for that overlapping content without, impeding on the content in that main container. And again, I have a couple additional that I haven't used a whole bunch, but still baked into my starter site for having no padding on the top and no bottom padding on this one as well. So again, really selective use on those just based on the design. Moving right along, after the containers, I have 4 styles set up for borders. And lo and behold, this made me realize I spelled border wrong in one of my styles. That's never even occurred to me. I've used this for quite a while, so I'll have to fix that. But nonetheless, if we come back again to our style guide page, you can see the 4 different size of borders. And by borders, to clarify, I mean border radiuses, or maybe radii. I'm not sure what plural of radius is. So a small border is just a little bit of radius. Medium, large, and extra large has the most radius. And last but not least is I have 4 different padding styles set up. Now, these padding styles are different than my containers because this is just padding within a section of, say, a card or around specific content, right? And so if we come to, say, my website, for example, and we've got this website design card, this I would want probably about medium padding within this card, right? So I need space around the content. And I can just use those utility style classes to pre-select different levels of padding that I might want for a section. Same for say this footer section for my Design to Dollars newsletter. This is probably, again, medium size padding according to my global styles, so padding medium. Now, I've used these global styles ever since they came out in GenerateBlocks a while ago, and I've been growing this list ever since. They're constantly evolving based on how I design websites and finding different classes that I use multiple times across websites at the same time. And some of them maybe seem like such minimal time saved, But hey, every second counts when you're developing a website, and the less time you have to insert those numbers and think about what numbers you have to input, the better it is for you in the long run. Thanks a lot for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy watching, and look forward to seeing you next time.